happy to talk about this subject today because all of my life I have never ever fit in. I still fit in absolutely nowhere. I'm a part of a team that thrives. I'm a part of a tribe that thrives, and we do awesome work together. We add value to each other's life, and we spread knowledge and wisdom around the world. And we also spread hope and let you know that you can do it, that the tools that you need is in the inner dimension of self. And so we teach you and train you how to go into the inner dimension of self, because that's where your true treasure is hidden. That's where your greatness is hidden. But today I'm going to talk about being an outcast, because most people spend a lot of time trying to fit in. I came by to tell you, stop trying to fit in, because you were not created to fit in. You were created to stand out. I want to talk today because so many of us that has been unaccepted, I felt abandoned. I felt all alone. I felt like I really didn't belong anywhere. And I was constantly asking God questions. I would ask God questions like, do you mean that I'm going to come into this world and I'm going to live and die and nobody's going to care? Do you mean that I'm going to come into this world and I'm going to live and die and not have touched and affected anybody's life at all? And I didn't want to be a negative effect on anyone. I wanted to impact people's life in a positive way. And so I had questions for God. And so my questions was always, do you mean to tell me this, or do you mean to tell me that? And so I know what it feels to feel abandoned. I know what it feels like to feel broken. I know what it means to feel like you are a misfit. I know what it means to feel like that everyone's counted you out and said that you're never going to amount to anything. And I know what it feels like for no one to believe in you. And so people ask me, what audience, which niche do I actually feel? I don't have a age range. I deal with the fact that everybody counted you out, the fact that you are an outcast. And because you are an outcast, you're not accepted in any social norm. You're not accepted by the status quo. You literally do not fit in anywhere. You don't have a purpose. The world don't feel like you have a purpose, but you do have a purpose. You just literally do not fit in anywhere at all. And so that's what I want to talk to you about today, is being an outcast. And I want all the outcasts and all of those that feel like life has passed you by and that you was left out. You are my market. You are my niche, because I deal with you to help you overcome what the world has said that you cannot do. And I help you to overcome and show the world that you can do exactly that and more. I help you tap into the inner dimension of self, where your greatness actually is. And so I'm going to talk about being an extremist. I was talking to someone on the other day, and we were talking about being an extremist. So I start laughing and I said, I am an extremist, and a lot of times, I listen to other people's problems each and every day. So I'm not always interjecting about myself. I'm not, most of the time, you hear something about me, rarely. Most of the time, I'm helping you to gather the information and the data to change your life. And so that information is about you and your career. But we just happened to get on the subject, and they looked at me and said, you have always been popular. You've always been this. You've always been that. And so it was so ironic that the day before, I had received an old picture of my father and my mother and me and another little kid. Well, when I looked at that picture, I thought, I could not possibly look any worse than what I looked like in that picture. Now, I was a kid in the picture, but my hair looked like, apparently I had been swimming. And so I didn't like the way my hair looked. I immediately looked at that picture and tore the picture apart and found what all was right with me. And then I looked into my eyes from the picture and I said, the eyes is telling the story. The eyes is telling that I didn't like the outward shell in which my spiritual being was housed in. The eyes was telling that I was in a place of indifference, and this is at a very young age. That picture told me so much about myself at that age that it was almost overwhelming. Now, I told you all of that because even at that young age, I was an extremist. So I would go to the extreme at whatever I did. And so as outcasts, you need to realize that we tend to be extremists. We go to the extreme at whatever we do. Whatever your gift and talent is, I'm telling you now, if you are truly an outcast, you're going to go to the extreme because we overcompensate for what we feel like that we're lacking. Now, for all the people that was on the outside looking in, I came from the perfect family with the perfect parents and we with the perfect siblings and all of that. And I don't have not one negative thing to say about my parents or about my siblings. But what I will tell everyone that's listening to me, that there is no manual on parenting. And so did I get what I needed? No. They had 7 children. They dealt with all 7 of us differently based on what they felt like that we needed. Now, would I have done it differently? First of all, I can't even imagine having 7 children. I have 1 son and 2 wonderful grandchildren. Both of them are boys and they are just awesome. But now that's me with 1 son. So I can't even imagine what it would be like trying to raise 7 children. So they had 4 boys and 3 girls. And they had 2 girls, 4 boys, and then me at the end. And so I didn't fit in with the older ones. The boys was in between me and my 2 sisters. So really, I was an outcast in my own family. So I spent a lot of time in the treehouse. I spent a lot of time alone. I spent a lot of time of reading and studying, and I would study the Bible, and I'd go to prayer meetings and follow my father around because he was a Southern Baptist preacher. And so, I was constantly being fed the word of God. But I'm saying all of this because even in my family, I was an outcast. I hear people say the black sheep of the family. I wouldn't say that I was the black sheep of the family, but I was the family outcast. And let me explain to you why I was the family outcast. I was the family outcast because there was a huge age difference. I had absolutely nothing in common with my mother. I had absolutely nothing in common with my father. The only thing I had in common with my father was the fact that he taught me all spiritual things. An awesome man of God. But did I get what I needed from either one of them? The answer would be no, because what I was looking for was the one thing that seemed like that I couldn't get that, and that was love. Now, I'm not saying that my parents didn't love me, because people and parents do what they know to do. They do the best that they can. So their ideal of what love looked like was different than my ideal of what love looked like. So by no means am I putting my parents down. I had 2 wonderful parents. They trained me. They equipped me. My mother, one of the greatest strategists that ever lived, she equipped me for life. And then later, God brought other people into my life that equipped me for life and helped me toughen up and helped me get done the things that I need to get done.